we want to connect to SharePoint folders and SharePoint lists, so stay with me until the end of this video. First, we need to understand what is SharePoint. SharePoint is a big collaborative platform in Microsoft 365. It contains a lot of different aspects. First of all, it is like a OneDrive for business. SharePoint allows us to share files to one another. SharePoint has sites that are like the workspaces in Power BI, that we can create intranet, information about a certain department, information about your business, news of the company. You can create a complete environment for your company. In this video, we're gonna connect to SharePoint folder and SharePoint lists. First, let's connect to a SharePoint folder. SharePoint folder is like a OneDrive folder. It's a folder that is used to share your files with your company, with your team, with specific people. Here we have my SharePoint. I created a site called Labs. Inside my Labs, we have documents. Here in my documents, you can see that I have a few folders. I have my Adventure Works CSV files, a few ebooks, a few images, and a PBX file that I use in the labs of this video. Now, we need to understand how the connection of Power BI works with a SharePoint. Here I have my Power BI and I want to get data. I'm gonna go in more and write SharePoint. Oops. SharePoint. Here it is. We have SharePoint folder, SharePoint online list, and SharePoint list. First, let's go to SharePoint folder. It will ask us a SharePoint folder URL. What is this? Is the address of the SharePoint. We're gonna go back to our SharePoint and we're gonna take a look in my URL. Here we have the name of the company. Let me just zoom it a little bit. Here we have the name of the company. Here in my case, Prognoli BI. We have SharePoint.com. We have sites, and we have the name of the site. Every time you want to connect to a SharePoint folder, you need to grab the whole information until the site name. Site name. Here will be the limit of the information you will copy to paste there in Power BI. So I will copy here and paste it on my Power BI here. As you can see, I grabbed the company name, sites, and the name of the site. Here is my limit. Now let's click OK. When you connect to a SharePoint folder, you will connect to the entire site. So every type of document you have inside your folder will appear here. As you can see here, we have extensions. We have CSV files, we have JPEG, we have PNG, we have PDF, and we have a Power BI file. All that files that I have inside my folders will appear here. So I go to transform data, open my Power Query editor, and now I want to filter by the file that I want. If you have lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of files, will happen if your work in a big company, you need to make a few filters to grab the exact file that you want. So here, for example, I can filter by CSV, and I want my Gene employee. No, I want my fact internet sales. Here it is. I will click in binary, and it will open my file. Here it is. Now I have my CSV file here. I will name it fact internet sales. One major advantage in using SharePoint is that with SharePoint you do not have to configure a Power BI gateway to update your files in the Power BI services. If you use a local folder, you need to install a gateway in your machine so Power BI services can access your machine and grab the files to refresh it. Using a folder in SharePoint, we will do not have to worry about that. Okay, so this is how we connect to a Power BI folder. What is a Power BI list? A Power BI list is like a table in a SQL Server, a database. We can create multiple tables. Each table will create a name here. As you can see, I have here an employee list. This table, we can create it from scratch. We can upload an Excel. We can upload a CSV file that will be converted to a list. We can add more columns. We can share it with others. But Rena, what is the difference between this and an Excel file? Lists are created to work simultaneously with other people. Different from Excel, that we can, even if you use Excel line, we can have a few errors trying to filter a table, edit a table while other people are using. So in a Power BI, in a SharePoint list, we don't have that problem. It is made to work and collaborate and share and work with multiple people at the same time. So every time you need that information to be shared with lots and lots and lots of people, instead of uploading a CSV file or an Excel file in your SharePoint, think about it and create a list. It will be much more easy to work. So here I have inside my lab a list, employee list. Okay, now I want to connect and grab this list here in my Power BI. So let's go and grab it. I'm here in my Power BI, my Power Query. Let's just close and apply, and I will do the more easy way, that is in the get data. It's the more natural way. Okay, now let's grab a SharePoint list. I'm gonna more, get data, more, SharePoint. We can have SharePoint list and SharePoint online list. Usually we use SharePoint list. It's the more normal way to connect to a list. So that's what we're going to use. Gonna hit OK. It will ask us the same URL. So it's the exactly same thing that we did before. And we're gonna grab the entire URL until the name of the site. Everything after, we do not need to copy. And I'm gonna click OK. When you connect to a list, it will happen the same thing that happened to our folder. It will appear every list that we have inside of our site. Here we have a lots of lists, but we just want the employee list. So I will just have to search here and find it. Here it is, employee list, and I will click in transform. It will open my Power BI, my Power Query editor. Here it is. Now, different from the SharePoint folder, the lists will bring lots of extra informations that we do not need. It will bring files log, ID of the list, a few extra informations, content type, the modified date of the file, the created date of the file. And here is not the case because this is just a simple list for this example in the video, but we can create lists that are correlated to other lists. So for example, let's say we have an employee list and we have a branch list with different branches for our company. We can have both of them related, and here we will have, for example, a branch table. Then we're gonna open here and grab information from that other list that will appear here. It's pretty good if we want to grab information and unify it in one big table to use here in Power BI. And this will happen to all the lists that you have. So here we do not need any other type of records. I know that's a bit confused, but as soon as you put your hands on and start using lists yourself, you see that it's not so much complicated, and you will understand what these other columns represent. For our case, we do not need it. So the only thing that we need is to choose the columns that we want. I want my name, here it is, my department, and my country. So I'm gonna go to choose columns. I got title, field 1 and field 2. Sometimes the name of the column won't appear here. I don't know why. I think it's a bug of the lists, but we can rename it. Here is title. I will rename it to name. Field 1 I will put as department, and here country. And now I'm gonna change the type of the 3 columns to text. And I will call Jim employer list. Now we have one table from a list and one table from an Excel folder. Now I just gonna close and apply, wait for this list to load, and voila, we have 2 tables from SharePoint and SharePoint lists inside our Power BI. As same as the folders, a SharePoint list do not need a data gateway to upload and refresh your data. It will connect directly to Power BI services and refresh automatically. I hope that this video was useful to you, and see you guys on the next one. So, what do you think of today's video? Let me know all in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the notification bell, subscribe to the channel, and hit the like button. And I see you guys on our next video.